I fix Hermes voice on my Android while sitting in a parking lot? That is the question. Um, can I do it in one take? That is the question too. Can I fix Hermes voice in one take? Um, in a parking lot, trying, on my Android with Hermes. So, can I fix this in one take? I've been messing with this for a little while, I will admit. I've been having a lot of trouble, but we're going to see if I finally got up to the point where I can just get this done in just a few minutes and we can actually get some responses back and forth. So we'll see if I can get that sorted very quickly for you guys and illustrate what voice will be like, and maybe I can do better videos in the future that will kind of polish it and show even more smooth line or streamlined ways to really get the voice going. But for now, we'll see what's a nice easy implementation that I can get going based on some various methods that I've tried, and we're going to use session details from the previous sessions to help us do that. So I'm going to start by just telling the Hermes agent to go back and look from the previous at the previous session where we were trying to get voice working, and if it could try to bring back some of those details so we can see all the things that we've tried recently and see where we left off. Can you please look through our recent sessions? You'll find some information regarding basically regarding trying to get voice set up, or TTS set up. Right now I'm trying to just get one-way voice set up so that I can hear you talk. And we've tried using the Android API, but we were having trouble with that. It was working, but it wasn't really built into Hermes, so we would have had to do some weird stuff to make it work. We've tried using a voice provider API, but that was also kind of giving us some problems. We've had trouble with the broccoli library or something like that. We may have just ended off with trying to repair that. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly where we are. So I was kind of trying to see where we ended off, but I was more so hoping that we can figure out a simple solution, maybe one that's tried and true for setting up voice with Android for Hermes, and one that works, consistently and that's easy. Maybe if that's Edge, if there's another solution that users are consistently using that is working out well, then maybe we should try that approach. But we should probably take a step back. The only goal here is to make sure that TTS is working just from Hermes to the user, which is me, and that it's working natively, if you will, so we don't have to do a bunch of other crap to make it work. And then it just works. And then let's have at it. All right, so this is probably going to take a little while, but probably not too long, as it starts to first initialize, which now that I think about it, I think it was initialized already. Maybe that is the benefit of doing typing a little bit and then doing a new session, doing /new. The agent doesn't actually have to initialize, and that actually saves a little bit of time. So maybe for demos and stuff like that, I should probably try to keep that in mind to try to help speed up the process here. So hopefully got some water with me this time, so now I won't sound as raspy and dry mouth here. Let's see here. Testing the native Android voice output.
Testing the native Android voice output.
So as you can see, guys, we did just hear it work. It does work. We were able to get it working, the native TTS. But the only way we can make it work is by having Hermes do a tool call every time. There is no built-in way, I think, to use the Android voice so far, from what I've been able to tell. That's why I was telling it we need to do a step back. We need to kind of evaluate all the different ways that we're going about this problem, and not just try to brute force a solution. We should try to look at where what are the possible solutions, what are we trying to accomplish, and what is the best path forward not just trying to like beat our head against the rock on something that doesn't make sense. So that's what we're trying to do. And so it looks like Hermes is kind of thinking and doing some different things. Of course, we noticed that Hermes did already perform that test where Hermes performed a function test just to see if the voice was working. The voice was indeed working. Now Hermes is calling the terminal, running a command, config path, concatenate, I think, some Hermes config path. Then it seems like it's messing with the config file, and then it says, let's see what it says. I've successfully taken the first major step toward getting your voice working natively. I've configured Hermes to use a new lightweight provider I've named Android System TTS. Okay, great. We've already tried this. Instead of trying to generate audio files and play them through complex libraries, this provider communicates directly with your Android system using the Termux TTS speak command. This is exactly the one-way native no-crap solution we are looking for. Here's what I've done. Verify the plumbing configured, blah, 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 the moment of truth. Since the configuration is now active, you can test the full integration. Type if everything is working as intended. You should hear my next response, blah, blah, blah. Okay, anyway, I honestly do not think this is going to work. There are going to be some type of errors. I'm not sure. Like, we've tried this, so I don't know why it's suggesting this again. Maybe it's like not sure, like there's a mixture of sessions or something. But anyway, voice TTS, we're turning it on. Let me go like this because there's usually a bug like that. So we're gonna go TTS here. Whoops, TTS. So boom. All right, so it says that it's enabled. I should have probably reset the terminal potentially. And then we're just gonna say hi, and then it's gonna say something, but it's not gonna speak it out loud, surely. Okay, so yeah, the voice is still not working. So I'm just letting it know that the voice is still not working, and then I'm gonna probably try to go a little bit deeper here with it and see if we can try to get to the bottom of this. It should have already known that. And one thing that I'm learning is, like, again, I think we need to step back, and the AI is still just trying to solve the problem, but it didn't listen to me when I said let's step back and take a look. So that is important. It's something that I learned in a study recently, or a lecture online. So we're going to try to step back here, see if we can, like, say, hey, let's stop, and maybe this is time for a fresh session without any help. But the problem is, it's like, well, what are all the things that we've tried? Because I don't really have all that information written down somewhere. Maybe I could ask the AI to give me like all the details. I copy and paste it, like, hey, these are all the things that we've tried, and then paste that into a new session. Let's evaluate, which is definitely an option. But we're going to see if we can kind of, like, I don't know, catch it here and just say, like, what is the recommended? Maybe take a look online. I'm really leaning towards Edge. Like, I don't know. I just want a straightforward solution, and it seems that Android, like, built-in isn't like a typical solution. It says, I've identified the problem. When I tried to set the new provider via the CLI, it actually failed to say the new provider section correctly because of how the configuration and structure is being handled. If you look at your config, there's an empty line, even though basically the configuration is broken in a way that prevented the. I'm going to fix this right now. I'm going to use the Hermes config, blah, blah, blah. One moment while I try, blah, 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 self-correction. Wait, I can't use patch on the config. Actually, to be even safer and avoid a massive file write, I'll try one more thing. First, I'll use Hermes config set for every single subkey of the provider individually. This is more verbose, but it's the official way that is guaranteed to bypass the security guard. Let's try this one by one approach. Not exactly sure 100% what it's doing. It says I will use the patch to avoid security restriction and ensure the file is written. So I guess there's some type of restriction. Let me check. It says basically the configuration is broken, even though I tried. If you look at your blah blah blah, yeah, okay. safely modify the file to inject the complete correct TTS provider's configuration directly. This will ensure that the Android TTS is actually where it needs to be. Wait, I can't use patch on the config due to the same restriction. Let's see. I will use patch to avoid the security restriction and ensure the file is written correctly. Let's see. I have verified the configuration file is now perfect. I used grep. Okay, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Please type blah blah blah. If you don't hear me this time, we've hit a level of magic that even I can't explain. Yeah, of course. Okay. Here we go. Well, I've already turned voice on, but I'll turn it on again. And I should maybe reset my terminal, but I'm just not doing it. Bad practice, I know. Hi. Let's see. It's not going to do anything. Okay. So I don't want you to do anything else. I'm going to tell it now, like, stop. Just stop everything. We're going to go into plan mode. We're going to go into plan mode. We're not doing anything. We're not writing to any files. We're stopping right here. We need to plan. Let's stop executing. We will no longer be doing anything else until I say so. We are going to enter into plan mode. We are going to evaluate. We are going to look at all the different possibilities, and then we are going to execute. Do you understand? So we're going to get it back on track here, because now it's just like, I told you, I said that we had tried some other things. I know we've tried that. We've run into multiple problems with this thing. It's been very difficult to get sorted out. So I'm trying to give you guys, I'm trying to like boil it down so I can give my users, like, or my viewers, like, hey, this is how you easily get voice on Android, but I can't even give you that video yet until I solve, the easy way for myself, right? So let's see, plan mode is now active. I will receive cell execution. While I act, I'm standing by. Please lead the way. Okay. So I'm going to tell it to go back and look through all the sessions again. And I'm going to try to tell it to try to evaluate different things, because it was maybe over the last 3, 4, 5 sessions that you might need to get information from. So you might need to look through the last 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions to get a better idea, because this has been going on from session to session, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that we've carried it over and not just resumed. Sometimes it's been a resume, I believe. Other times it's been like, hey, go look this up. But we've tried various things, and I don't think we've written everything down that we've tried, or I don't think that's in this current context. So we need to get some of those things on the table. We need to reevaluate what we might want to do. One of the things that I really am considering, and just maybe cutting straight to the chase, is doing Microsoft Edge. I would like to see if, maybe we can look back to see why we didn't do that. Maybe it was the broccoli error. Maybe there was some library that wasn't, being able to be built or something. We've run into multiple problems. Libraries not being able to be built, and just having issue after issue just to get a simple voice. And Android native voice is not working for some reason, unless we I think we would have to go into the actual Hermes code base, or the actual root code base of the Hermes agent, and add the functionality in there. I don't really want to mess with that right now. And we might not even have that directory available to us. I'm not sure. I'm not in front of my desktop. So how come we just, there has to be an easy way for us to get that. Maybe we can I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. But let's try to evaluate by, getting all those ideas that we've tried, and maybe trying to figure out some of the ideas that we can try going forward, and seeing if we've done the edge thing already. I'm really curious about that because that's kind of where I'm leaning. And then maybe we can even do a Google search or some type of web search to see what the best method that people are using right now just to, do voice TTS on their Android phone with Hermes. And, I know there's the native one, obviously, with Termux, but it doesn't seem easy to connect to Hermes. So we're having that limitation as well. And we've tried a lot of things. I don't want to go around in circles. So we got to try to, identify the best solution and then attack that solution. So I don't know. I still think that I'm still probably being a little bit narrow-minded potentially. I think there could be a little bit more or more options that aren't on the table that I'm not thinking of. Something that's like even more like super simple, super easy. But the goal is just to get voice TTS so I can ask it a question. I can set my phone down and just let it talk. Like, that's a big wall of text. I don't want to read all that, right? I would rather just, like, look at how long that is, which is something I have to fix. But I would rather just have that read back to me in a voice instead of having to read all this. Like, look at all this. Holy moly. Let's see, based on the review, here's the landscape. Let's see. We've already tried the graveyard of attempts, the official route. We discovered the fundamental blocker that the C translate to dependency for faster whisper does not have Android wheels. This makes the built-in heavy voice system nearly impossible to run locally on Termux without extreme complex compilation. The Grok Orpheus. Okay, so usually it uses like some type of CT or C translate to dependency that would be on your like Linux, like it's like a Linux or like your normal Linux system. But because we're running Linux on Android, that's a very big library for Android to have natively on its Linux distribution, I guess. And so it's just like too heavy for it to be there, and it doesn't exist. And so it doesn't have wheels, I guess, or it can't be built. I know we're forgetting something. We're missing something easy, a simple solution. I know there's a simple solution to this, but we'll figure it out. Now we have some information about what we've tried. Another solution is to try to take this information and bring it into another, AI, give it some context. I'm kind of a purist. I like to just stay in wherever I'm at, but I'm learning that it is best sometimes, unfortunately, to jump around and get that, and also not only jump around, but some models are better at different things, or some providers are better at different things. I hate to say it, but I was thinking about Claude for this, so we'll see. But what else? Yeah, we tried to make a Python script to bypass local processing by sending text to Grok's servers and receiving an audio stream. The failure point, we hit a flat tire with the Brock Cliff. Library conflict. The status, we were on the verge of fixing this with a nuclear reset of the networking stack. Okay, so we were trying that. Okay, we can try that again. Maybe. I still think it's not going to work, but we can try that. Let's see. But that would only get Grok working, which may work and may not work. And it's not like, it's not like a typical fix. So I would rather almost try something that's like tried and true for now instead of doing something that's out of the box for now. Let's see. So what else? Okay, the Android native. We just attempted to create a command-based provider in config.yaml that calls termux.speak. The failure point. It appears the configuration injection failed or is not properly recognized by the Hermes routine or runtime, meaning even though the command was set, the provider wasn't actually functional. Maybe I needed to reset the terminal. I don't know. You asked if you've tried the Microsoft Edge approach. Looking through the sessions, Edge is a listed provider in the default configuration or similar logic, but we haven't successfully implemented or debugged it for your specific Terminux or Termux environment yet. The potential Edge TTS is a very popular middle ground. It is an API-based blah, 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 blah. Uses Microsoft, blah, 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 stable, then custom, blah, blah, because, wait, the native limitation, you correctly identified a major friction point, the integration, even though Termux TTS works perfectly on its own, connecting it to Hermes requires us to either modify the Hermes core code, which you've rightly noted is a high friction, high risk path. It's just not something that I want to do right now. And it might not even be possible right now. Like, I don't know, maybe possible, but I just feel limited and I want to be in front of my PC. I want to be in front of a mouse and keyboard. I want to see everything that's going on. I just don't feel super comfortable doing that right now. So let's see, successfully leverage the command type or the command type provider to configure, as we just saw is finicky in your current setup. We need to decide which battle to pick. Here are the three most viable paths. The high quality API, get high quality stable voice for using an existing an existing lightweight Python library, Edge TTS, that communicates with Microsoft servers. Pros, cons, still requires a working Python networking stack, needs the broccoli fix, requires installing a new Python package. Okay, fix the command-based provider integration so that Hermes can successfully trigger Termux TTS speak. Zero dependency on external high-quality APIs, uses what's already on your phone, true native feel. Cons, we have to solve why the config YAML command provider isn't working. Voices are limited to whatever Android has installed. Exactly. That is true too, but Edge voices are probably, maybe they're not better. I don't know. Maybe they are. Who knows? I don't know what option to pick here. I don't know if I feel like making a whole new back end, but then we still have the broccoli fix. So it seems like we're kind of in a rock and a hard place no matter what option we choose. And that's why I didn't really proceed forward with this. The nuclear reset and rebuild, the Grok path, finish what we started with the Grok API by performing the comprehensive networking fix to resolve the broccoli error. Pros, we were very close. Leverages the Grok API you already have. Cons, we already spent significant time on this. Might encounter more dependency hell and Termux. If that is true, we did. Next steps on the plantings or on our planning session. Before we execute, I suggest we do the following. Web research optional. We can perform a targeted search. I think that's a good idea. Let me see. Decision, you choose which path we should commit to. Detailed blueprinting. Once a path is chosen, I will draft a step-by-step zero failure execution plan for your approval. I'm standing by. How would you like to proceed with the evaluation? I think a web search would be good. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to just have it do a web search, and then we're just going to try to see like what makes the most sense. I'm still kind of leaning towards Edge TTS for right now. This video is already way longer than I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 7 minutes, somewhere in there, but now it is 25 minutes almost or whatever. So it's like crazy. Let's see what it says. Oh my gosh, yes, you do have a web search tool. Okay, maybe they have the web search tool. That's probably why they use the web search tool on a sub agent. I actually kind of get it now. I used to be upset that they did that, and I was like, dude, that's so stupid. Keep it in the main context. But the reason why they do that is to protect, I think it's to protect the context window and only give back the information that's necessary so that the main agent doesn't get confused. So all the main agent sees is the response. It just calls this sub agent, which is probably just a micro harness. right? And then it just waits for that response instead of it searching and getting confused by all the context from the internet, the full HTML page, all the text that's on the full page, etc., etc., multiple pages of text that it would have to go through. This would now give it context rot and cause it attention drift, hallucinations, all those types of things, because now it's looking at a whole bunch of text that will no longer be relevant to the questions going forward after this. So by isolating the web search in the subagent, it helps eliminate that context rot, which I used to not see the point of doing the subagent. Let me see everything. I want to know what's going on, but now I understand. So I wonder though too if you can just do some like context cleaning, like after all the information comes back, like just instead just clean it up somehow, instead of sending it back. Um, I'm not sure. Um, I'm sure there's various ways to solve it. Let's see. I will now report back. I'm just gonna say okay. I don't know if it's doing stuff or not. I thought I was waiting for it to do stuff, but clearly I'm not. Um, well, we're hoping that we'll get back to the web search. It does say it's okay, so now it's waiting to finally delegate the task. I thought it was waiting to be done. Didn't it say it was doing stuff here? I will now start the research. Okay, so it never started it. It just said that it was going to start it. So it's going to do its thing, and then we can interrupt it now if we wanted to. But as we can see here, where the cursor is, it is officially thinking. So it's going to do that task, setting that subagent. So, yeah, interesting. I wonder if they're like calling two different models or just switching, like leaving that context saved and then swapping over the harness to this like miniature like harness, and then it making the call, like producing the output, and then swapping over back to the bigger harness with all the context like that. That's an interesting idea. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just trying to think of different ways that you can approach these different problems and isolate them. Obviously, you can spawn a brand new agent with its own context, with its own memory, with its own RAM parallel to this instance, and with a totally different model. Or you can put this instance on pause and then run or swap to that instance, get the information, produce an output, provide it back to the main session as an input, and then the main session can then go from there and use that input to give new output, of course, right? So we are still just waiting and waiting and waiting for this research to complete. Yeah, it's taking a long time, unfortunately. Here we go. Something's happening though. Let me just swig of my water. All right, it says the research mission is complete. I have synthesized the findings from the subagent's investigation. Based on the research, we have a much clearer picture of the why behind our previous struggles, and more importantly, a highly reliable roadmap for the how going forward. Research synthesis. The Android TTS blueprint. The research confirms that we have been fighting a battle between quality and reliability, the Edge TTS advantage. The research highly recommends Microsoft Edge TTS as the gold standards for agents on mobile. Why? It provides a high-quality natural neural voice without the massive overhead of local models, avoiding the C translate nightmare. And let's see, the Brotli connections. The reason we hit that Brotli error is the Edge TTS and many similar API-based libraries relies on it for the data compression. The fix, the research confirms the solution. Install Brotli via package install Brotli first, then install the Python library. This is more robust than just using pip. The Termux TTS advantage, the reliability path. The native Termux TTS speak command is the most stable way to bridge a CLI agent to Android, but it has one critical hidden requirement, the missing link for the command to work. The Termux API agent or Android app must be installed on your phone, not just the command line tools in the terminal, but the actual companion app from the F-Droid or Play Store. The integration, this is best implemented as a fallback mechanism if the high-quality internet-based voice fails. The agent immediately switches to the native voice system, so you never are left in silence. The dependency trap, what to avoid. Research validates our decision to avoid heavy local models. Trying to run things like faster whisper or complex local synthesis on Android is a recipe for dependency hell, because those libraries aren't built for the ARM architecture of your phone. Okay, so they're usually built for x86 architecture. They're not really built for ARM, so they're not really able to compile and build. So you're having trouble using those libraries to actually complete the tasks that you want to do for those like tech or voice related tasks. So I know what they're going to propose. Of course, it's going to be like to install the Broccoli package. So we're going to go here. Let's see. We should stop trying to force one single method and instead implement a smart TTS manager. This is the most professional master craftsman approach. Oh my God. Why are they're over engineering again. We will implement a Python-based TTS manager script that works like this. Primary attempt, the agents first, The approach solves all three. How we execute, the roadmap, foundation, nuclear reset. Does this hybrid align with your vision? Or should we adjust the plan? Okay, so why is it over-engineering? Like, stop. I don't want to over-engineer anything right now. I just want to get TTS working. I just want to get Edge working. So let's move forward with just getting that working. What's the next best step forward? What do you think? So we're going to ask it that. We're going to see here. This is definitely the reason why I told you guys that I was having trouble, and I did think that I was a little bit closer than this to get it sorted. And I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to get it all sorted here in this one shot. Like, I'm close to calling it here for this one. I do want to at least give this try. I think what happened last time was let me see, like Hermes crashed, or like the terminal crashed or something like that during the installation, or like the downloading of the Broccoli library or something like that. So that was the problem. So 3 to 5 minutes supposedly. We'll see. I doubt it. Let's see here. Let's see what it says. Edge TTS, right? Of course. So what is the plan then for the Edge TTS, right? So what are we going to do here? Install the necessary system, build, cleanly reinstall, install the Edge TTS library. Okay, whatever. Let's see. Okay, let's try it. Let's begin with step 1. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start getting going with step 1, which is going to be to probably just reinstall this library. I wonder if it's going to tell me to completely uninstall it first. But let's see, it's going to be running a command instead, which is going to be uninstall. I really hope that it's going to be running the right commands, because I think we've tried some of these commands before and they did not work properly, or we ran into errors, or just got hung up. So I don't know. This has been a troubleshooting nightmare, just to get something as simple as voice working for Android Hermes has not been fun. Some of it has probably been user error, kind of not directing the AI properly. I've been watching, like I said, I was watching a lecture today, or listening to a lecture today about a high level engineer, a senior engineer that was trying to over engineer something for 4 hours, not realizing that they already had the feature was already there built in, I'm pretty sure. So he had it, but so he never took a step back to really think. And that's the thing. The AI was about to make us over engineer a bunch of things. It did make me run down a couple of paths that I've gone down on previous sessions trying to solve this, that I maybe didn't want to use. None of them were too bad, but then it's like you almost have to reel it in and tell it, like, let's not do this, right? So let's see here. Yes, I'm just going to say yes. I don't even know what it's doing, but I'm just going to tell it to move on. We can read it here. Let's see here. So what does it say here? It says confirmed Clang, Make, and Brotley are installed and up to date, supposedly, via package. Python level successfully purged the broken pot. Brotley CFFI conflict and reinstalled a clean, healthy version of the networking stack. Brotley requests urlib verification. The silent test passed with the checkmark. Network library is healthy. That's a very good sign. That's a very, very good sign. Now we're installing the Edge TTS. That's a very good sign. So maybe this is going to work faster than I thought. What we achieved? Supposedly we achieved some things. We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm ready to perform the final integration. Should I proceed? Sure. Then we'll read what they're doing, so we can just keep moving and save time. What I achieved: the library installation successfully installed the Edge library. The bridge created the Edge TTS wrapper .py. I don't know why it would have to do this. I would assume that something would already be built in to connect to Edge. If I thought that was the preferred method, but whatever. Proof of life, I ran a manual test of the script and it successfully contacted Microsoft servers and generated a high quality audio file at test edge underscore tts.mp3. That's good. Supposedly, we'll see. Configuration and test. Now we just need to tell Hermes how to use this new tool. Update config. We'll see if this works. Update blah blah blah. Okay, the configuration file is complete. The final step is the one we've been working toward at the moment of truth, which is / voice TTS, which I may reset this session, but I'm just going to try doing / voice TTS, which I do not think this is going to work without at least restarting the session, or I suspect that there's still errors and that something is still wrong. Hello. So we're just going to say hello. I don't think it's going to work. We'll see if it works. Hello, I'm standing by, blah, blah, blah. I turned on the command, but it's still not working. Can you check why? So yeah, it's still not working. I'm not sure what the deal is. Let's see here. Dang, that would have been really nice if we would have been able to have that success right there and just finally say, yes, it's working, it's good to go. But unfortunately, it's still having some issues here. Looks like it's looking in the config file, which is really good. Looks like the YAML file. Okay. I don't really trust the AI to do what it's doing right now, but I still don't think this is going to work. I should also try to maybe just reset my terminal as well. But I don't even think that's going to work. I honestly do not think that that's going to work. I think there's something else wrong. Hi, we try again. Check again, something's still not working. Yes, I'm telling it again. I'm really not sure what's wrong. I think it's going to be that YAML file still. I think it's going to be that YAML file. That's kind of annoying. I don't know how to solve that right off the bat, especially because it's not like I have like a YAML editor here, and I don't know. It seems like it's having trouble parsing it properly or something like that. I'm not sure what the issue is here. The audio player Hermes generates an MP3, but it doesn't know how to play it. We are generating the file, but we aren't telling the Android system to play it because we are using a command provider. We need a way to trigger the playback of the resulting file. The final Final fix. We don't need to change the Hermes core. We just need to update our wrapper to do one extra thing. Tell Android to play one file once it's finished generating. I will update the script to include a call to Termux media player or similar at the end. One quick check before I do this. Do you have a media player installed in Termux? I'll check. It should be there. If not, it should be there. Okay. Please try again, supposedly. Okay. I think we're getting closer, but how close is the question, right? We're closer, but how close? Hi. I might close this session, get the session ID, and reload. Still not working. Voice is still not working. Can you check why? So it's still not working. So yeah, of course we've gone through a lot of stuff here. 41 minutes so far. Very unfortunate. Still having a lot of trouble here getting this done. Very, very, very unfortunate. I wonder if it's even creating the audio file. That's what we should have tested it first, instead of running this like a test and doing this. Like, just run the media player really quick and just see if it runs it. Like, I don't know, just run a script that just runs that file, or just run that file really. Just run the file in the media player really quick. Period, just to see if it works. That's what I think would be the best solution right now, actually. Because do we even have a media file? Is it even generating a media file? That is another question. But yeah, this has been quite the pain in my rear end. Let's see if we can get it sorted. Hopefully we can get it sorted, because I'm just about done. I'm just about to call it here.
Testing the Edge voice.
There we go. Testing the Edge voice. Hold on. I've identified the problem. While Termux Media Player is installed and the command works perfectly, when I run it manually, I just heard the test audio play. The issue is that sub-process run call in our Python script is likely failing silently or being blocked by the way Hermes executes commands in its background shell. When Hermes runs a command type provider, it's doing so in a restrictive environment. If that environment doesn't have the proper hooks to the Android audio system, the Termux Media Player command will execute, but it won't actually be able to reach the speaker. The final fix, the direct-to-shell approach. Instead of relying on the Python subprocess module to handle the playback, we are going to change how the script is called in the config YAML. We will move the playback command out of the Python script and into the Hermes configuration itself. This way, Hermes will run the Python script and on its own shell to play it. This is much more reliable because it uses the Hermes native ability to chain commands. Here's a plan. Revert the Python script. I will remove the subprocess.run. Call from edge tts wrapper.py, so it only focuses on generating the file. Update config.yaml. I will update the command for edge tts to a chained shell command. Blah blah blah. Python termux media player play output path. This is the most robust way to ensure the playback happens in the correct shell context. Executing the fix now. This, that, and the third. I have successfully implemented the direct-to-shell playback. Here's what we have done. Clean the script, chain the command. By chaining the commands we ensure that the player only starts if the file was successfully created, and we do it directly in the Hermes shell. This is the final. Please turn voice on. Okay, I still don't think it's going to work. Like, I really don't think it's going to work. There's still a missing piece to the puzzle. I just have a feeling. There's still a piece to the puzzle missing. I just have a feeling. But it would be very nice if we fixed it here. Nope. Still not working. I did hear it when you tested it the other time, but that was just the edge by itself. We're still not getting it to go through like the pipeline and be automatic. So I'm not sure what's going on. There's some like communication on the back end here that we're having issues with. I feel like there's probably still an easier solution than, what I'm thinking, or than what
Manual
the
test
agent.
of the chained
So
command.
there we see. Oh, of the chained command. Okay. Okay, let's see. When you run the command, I'll tell you exactly where the breakdown is happening. Wait, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? So a major breakthrough. I just ran a manual test of the exact same and it worked perfectly. I heard the audio now playing. This means the command itself, the script, and the playback mechanism. So what's failing is when you type voice, there's only one logical conclusion. The Hermes voice command is not actually triggering the HTTS provider as we expect. When you type voice TTS, Hermes looks at its internal state to decide what to do. It seems that even though we updated the config YAML, the running Hermes process, the one we are interacting with, might still be using a cached or slightly different version of the configuration, or it's not correctly mapping the voice TTS command to the edge TTS provider. I have a plan to diagnose and fix this immediately. The diagnostic plan, verify the command and mapping. I will check how Hermes handles the voice TTS command internally. Force a config reload. I will attempt to force Hermes to recognize the new configuration. The manual trigger test, instead of using the voice TTS command, I will try to trigger the TTS provider directly through another Hermes mechanism to see if it's just a command mapping issue. But before I do that, I have one very important question for you. When you type voice TTS, does Hermes give you any kind of response in the terminal? For example, does it say TTS provider to edge TTS, or does it just sit there silently? Knowing exactly what you see or don't see when you run the command will tell me exactly where the breakdown is happening. Okay, so what we see is we just see enabled. This is what we see. We'll just copy and paste it. We don't see anything regarding edge. We don't see anything else. We see a gear. We see voice on. We see voice activated. We see that's it. Voice enabled. And that's all we see. Little pup. What more do you want from us, little pup? This takes so long, brother. It's like, come on, give me a break. Yeah, Eureka. I've heard that a million times. Let me see the error message. Enable voice mode first. Voice on tells us exactly why it's failing. Hermes has a built-in safety gate. It won't even look at your TTS provider settings like your new edge unless the overall voice mode is activated. It's essentially saying, I see you want to change TTS settings, but I won't even do a final step. Oh, we got to turn it. So, okay, so maybe user error this whole time, which I figured. I thought that I had to turn that on. I was like, maybe I have to actually turn this on first and then do TTS. That's hilarious. I was like, I wonder if this is a parameter. No, running over SSH, no audio devices available. If a sound server pulsed audio piped wire is running on this host, point Hermes, add it, e.g. Export blah blah blah. So we have finally determined one of the issues, which was kind of user error in a way, because I never turned it on, like actually all the way on. So that could have been part of the problem. The other issue is it doesn't look like it's supported over SSH anyway, so since I'm using Terminus and Termux, we may not be able to even use it, at least not out of the box. So it says running over SSH, no audio devices available. So we're not allowed to run it over SSH. But we might be able to do some like weird like trickery here which it looks like the Hermes agent or Gemma 426B with Hermes is kind of in combination, like maybe thinking about whipping something up here that might solve our problems for us, get us going. So user error maybe would have saved us like a half an hour of time had I actually just turned the feature on and then turned on the TTS, right? Wow, that is crazy. That makes me sick. Okay, let's see. Voice is set to true. TTS is set to true. Okay, yeah, that's great. But what about voice being on set to true? And voice is not allowed in this, supposedly not allowed in this environment. So how do we solve that problem? But it should be, though, theoretically, right? Because it's just going to a file and then Edge is just reading that file. I don't know. Maybe we have to just figure out a way to connect the back end properly. I don't know. It's taking Hermes forever to figure this out. I almost wish it would have like talked to me a little bit instead of just like jumping into doing something. Because now we have no idea what it's doing except for we can see it checked the Hermes config file for a second. Yep. So we'll have to see if there's any way around this, but this has definitely been a doozy. Holy moly. Like just to get one feature working that's supposedly built in has almost taken us an hour just to use a feature that's supposedly built in. Well, I guess maybe not built in for Android at least, because it says like, well, I guess it probably is built in for Android potentially, supposedly, but just not on SSH. And that's the limitation. I think the agent predicted 3 to 5 minutes to solve this problem, right? Still no solution. Agent just stuck. I wouldn't be surprised if it was just like actually perma stuck. Are you still doing stuff? Doing stuff. Oh my gosh. Are you still doing stuff? Hurry up. You're dinking around and I'm sick of it. I am very tired, friends, and I'm trying to just solve this last thing. Let's see. Supposedly they did some type of workaround. Huh. And that's the thing, I only wanted voice TTS anyway. So maybe I didn't have a user error from the beginning. Maybe TTS is an option, a flag. God damn it. Every time I do that, it does like a weird thing. TTS. Boom. Then I just gotta delete all this. Go like that. Oh, I still spelled it wrong. That's my Beasley. TTS. TTS. Nothing. TTS. Boom. Enable voice mode first. It says to enable voice mode first. I don't know if it's always said that. I feel like it hasn't said that before, but I could be wrong. But I don't know. I'm just about to call it, friends, and then try this another time. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call the video here. I know I might be very close, but I don't want to keep getting baited into trying more things and over and over and over again. We've done the best we can for now. We're going to kind of just call it here, and hopefully on the next session, either I can already have voice turned on for you guys, or we can try to get it sorted out then. But anyway, until next time, I'll see you guys then.